Hey y'all, it's Chris from Frontsight. I just wanted to follow up on one of my previous videos about AR-15s being the preferred weapon of choice for home defense. I want to talk about a few accessories you can add to your rifle to make it even better. With so many options to choose from, it's hard to narrow down which ones are the best, but I'll give you several ideas for what parts you might want to add or upgrade to make your rifle really stand out, both in performance and in looks. So starting from the back, working my way up, we have the rifle's buttstock. There are hundreds of options here, but what you're looking for is one that doesn't rattle when you jiggle it and can also be the right length for you that puts the rifle right where you want it when the stock is in your shoulder. Using the bend in your arm is a good way to see how far your buttstock should be extended. A collapsible stock is great, but there are also folding stocks out there. This option is great if you are building a short barrel rifle, or SBR for short. When you're building an SBR, one of the benefits of this is to be able to carry it in a way that others don't know it's there, such as in a normal looking backpack. There are options where you can put an attachment on your rifle that allow you to fold your stock and have the collapsible stock option as well. But this is going to be the overwhelming majority of your options for a rifle though, as bolt carrier group has to marry up to the buffer and buffer tube to operate. But guns such as the CZ Scorpion or MP5 don't use a buffer tube like an AR, so this foldable stocks will look and function a lot differently. So let's talk about grips. Looking at your grips, there are many different options out there. And some of these are going to be regulated by your communist state. California. State law. Sorry, couldn't help it. But there are some states that will not allow you to have a pistol grip on your rifle because, well, it's scary looking. Or it makes your rifle an assault rifle because we all know AR stands for assault rifle. Eugene Stone will be very upset with some of y'all. But some of these grips can be flat. They can have finger grooves. They can be made of different materials. They can be skeletonized. But personal preference is going to drive which type of grip you go with. Well, that and the level of communism in your state. So let's talk ambidextrous safeties. These are great if you plan on shooting from both shoulders, which takes training, but so does using both hands to manipulate the safety. So they're not really needed, but if you want one, there are many options out there. Upgraded triggers. If there is nothing else you upgrade or change to your rifle, an upgraded trigger should be number one on that list. While some can be pretty expensive, they're definitely worth the price. Just try to avoid paying for a name. Sometimes you can get a really great trigger that may not have the name of a premium trigger, but the functionality is the same. As for style, there are flat triggers and curved triggers. I prefer my flat trigger. Can't really explain why, I just do. Having shot both types of triggers, my favorite has been the LaRue tactical trigger that I have in 2 of my rifles. So, magazines. You'll find hundreds of different magazines at gun shows and flea markets, but you have to remember, purchasing a subpar magazine can be catastrophic to your shooting ability. Get good, reliable magazines that are going to properly feed your rifle. They make extended magazines for 60, 100 rounds, but those may not be as reliable as a normal 30-round PMag. One good addition to your magazines, though, would be couplers. A good coupler will put 2 magazines together and make reloading much, much faster with the right training, of course. Iron sights. Every rifle should have a backup sighting system, especially since the majority of rifle owners use some type of red dot as a primary sighting system. So you should absolutely use a red dot or other type of optic for your rifle, which I'll get to in just a second. But you absolutely need to have and train with your backup iron sights as well, because as always, when you need it the most, it'll go down on you. And Murphy is an asshole. But for iron sights, they can be mounted typically on a rifle at the 12 o'clock position, or they can be mounted at 45-degree cant, but as long as you're trained and proficient using them, you should be fine. So now let's talk about optics. There are so many different types of optics out there, and I don't have time to get into all the details with them, but I can give you some highlights. Red dot sights, or RDS. It's the pumpkin spice of optics. They can be very basic options for your rifle system and can make a very positive difference in your shooting capabilities. What I would look for is something that doesn't take up a whole lot of real estate with too much metal or plastic and has a large enough viewing window to make it easy to acquire your target. Price points vary, but don't go spend 20 bucks on a Walmart special and call it good. Holographic optics, specifically EOTech. It can be a great, although expensive addition to any rifle. But the most expensive ones are compatible with night vision, and the circle with a dot can be used to estimate distance with the right knowledge and training, of course. Now, there are several other benefits to them, but since I don't have time to go into all of that, what I can tell you is I have 2 of them, and I love using them. Then you have the variable power optics. These I would call low power scopes, and they can be great for medium ranges. They can quickly be manipulated, to zoom in and out quickly to give the shooter a bit more accuracy at greater distances than a normal red dot sight would. Now, the downside to one of these, though, is anything close quarters or inside of 100, acquiring your target might be a little slower with one of these than a red dot, unless you've trained a good bit with it. But the plus side is, though, you can mount a red dot sight either to the top or the 12 o'clock position or a 45-degree cant, and that will fix the CQB issue very quickly. Some of these optics can be pricey, but finding an affordable one with the variety out there in the markets shouldn't be too difficult. And lastly, for optics, scopes. And when I talk about scopes, I'm specifically referring to the hunting style scope. Some have a variable zoom to them, which is great, but they're also typically more powerful than a low power variable optic, like I talked about. They're not bad to put on these AR style rifles, but you'll get more bang for your buck, if you will, pun intended, if you put one on a larger caliber AR-10 style rifle. An AR-15 normally chambered in 5.56 can reach out and hit a target at 600 to 800 meters, but really to get distance out of these rifles, you need a larger caliber. So if you're shooting an AR-10 and 308 or even 6.5 Creedmoor, which is even better, you really would benefit from a higher power scope. Again, there are many of these out there to choose from, and you may pay as much, if not more, for the scope than you paid for your rifle. But glass can be expensive. All right, so moving forward, let's talk about handguard accessories. Now, before I get into these, let me be clear about something. I hate seeing foregrips and other options mounted to a rifle and being used improperly. I believe adding some of these options in the wrong location is annoying, and it makes the shooter look like an idiot when they're using them properly. Case in point, just look at that Navy captain that was relieved of command for that leaked photo of him shooting off the side of his ship with a foregrip mounted too close to the rifle and his optic mounted backwards. I feel bad for him because he did not have the knowledge or the experience enough to see that someone was setting him up for failure. There are many options out there if you want to add something to help you grip or manipulate your rifle easier. I prefer a stubby grip or something small that'll help you maintain that C-clamp grip on your rifle. Angled foregrips are okay, but not really preferred. Using a stubby foregrip or something similar, though, can increase your control over the rifle. It can also aid where or how you mount other options such as weapon-mounted lights and its pressure switch. But speaking of weapon-mounted lights, I did a video on this previously, which you can find here, but these are just another must-have for anyone using a rifle when the potential need to use it indoors or at night. There are several options out there, but I would steer clear of anything too large. You're just trying to illuminate a room or a threat. You're not trying to land a space shuttle. Lasers, friggin' laser beams, right? Lasers can be helpful for several reasons, but they're not necessarily all that important. They can be used to point out a target without using a sighting system. However, in tactical environment, IR lasers and night vision can be very helpful in identifying targets or communicating to other teammates that may also have IR lasers and night vision. But most of us mere mortals here don't have the money for that, so kind of SOL. Flash hiders, muzzle brakes, suppressors. Some of these are created for style, some for function, some for both. The muzzle brake can help with muzzle flip, reduce muzzle flash, or just look cool at the end of your rifle. There's so many different styles out there that just do some research and see which one works best for your rifle. For suppressors, purchasing a suppressor can be intimidating, expensive, and annoying because of the wait time for the tac stamp. But they're definitely worth it if you get the right one. Purchasing smart, like buying a 30 caliber can to be used on multiple rifles of a similar or smaller caliber, can be the cost-effective and also ensure that all of your rifles can be equipped if needed. They're excellent for hunting, target shooting, or anytime you prefer not wearing hearing protection when you're shooting your rifle. So the last thing we need to talk about regarding accessories for your rifle is what kind of sling you want for your rifle. They typically come in 1, 2, or 3-point slings, and there are benefits and issues with all of them, but I would focus specifically on the 1 or 2-point slings. At 1-point sling, it's quick and easy to clip on or quick detach or detach, and it's easy to swap shoulders with when you're using your rifle, but they provide the least amount of stability if you need to transition to a pistol or use both hands to do something like open a door. A 2-point sling is a bit more restrictive, but you can cinch it down to provide more stability when shooting, or you can tighten it down when you need to use 2 hands, or if you need to transition to a pistol. They make them in different colors. They can match your rifle or your gear depending on what type of gear you use. Now that we've finished that conversation, let's talk more about the additions to your rifle that are more for aesthetics or increase the it looks cool factor. The first thing you can do with a rifle is give it a cool paint job. No, I don't necessarily mean spray painting, although it is an option, but there are different ways you can give your rifle that coating that'll help protect it, but it also looks cool. One of those ways is by using gun skins. Gunskins is a company that sells vinyl skins for firearms, different makes and models, that you, the owner, put on your rifle, either to camouflage or give it a cool design. Not only does it look cool, but it also protects your rifle from any damage caused by brushing up against things or banging up against things as well. Another way is to Cerakote it. Now this method is similar to painting, but it uses special chemicals and paints that protect the rifle parts better. The colors are almost limitless, and the design can be anything you want if you get a good painter. If you're in South Carolina, look at my friends at Palmetto Cerakote. And tell Brian you heard about him and his company on this video. Palmetto Cerakote is located in Cross, South Carolina, and you can find them on Facebook. And pretty soon on Front Sight. So the last two attachments I want to talk about wouldn't necessarily be recommended, but they are pretty awesome. The first one would satisfy some of my friends that want a shotgun for home defense, and that would be a rifle-mounted shotgun. That's right, you can mount a small shotgun to your rifle and have two guns on one platform. Now, typically, these types of shotguns are for breaching doors and such, but they can also be used to provide versatility to an already versatile weapons platform. Now, the last option is one of my favorites. You can use it if you're hunting aliens, giant bugs, or if you're in Vietnam. And that's the flamethrower. The exothermic technology's under-barrel pulse-fire flamethrower. Wow, say that 10 times fast. It can add a lot of heat to your shoulder-fired burner. No pun intended there. I'm not exactly how well it performs, and I really don't know if I'd ever own one, but it would be pretty cool to have nonetheless. Well, that about sums up the rifle accessories for this episode. I hope you got something out of it, and I hope these ideas give you some good ideas to see what you want to add to your rifle to up your game a bit. If you like this content and you want to see more like it, leave me a comment and a like, and then subscribe to my channel for more to come. Thanks for tuning in. Welcome to the revolution. Welcome to Front Sight.